everybody. This is Mia with Chalk with Mia. I am here tonight with another project. I know I don't do a live for like a week and then I do two back to back. Unfortunately, that's just the way that my life is and the way that I roll sometimes. But I'm doing something a little bit different tonight. So I am ultimately preparing to do a chalk couture project, I promise. It just may not happen tonight because this is something that has to set up overnight. So if you join me, please say hi so that I know that you're here. Comment, like, share something. Give me some emojis because I can see somebody join, but I can't see who they are, surprisingly. Okay, so what I'm doing tonight is a really fun project, and I'm going to try to give you guys as much of the tutorial as I can. Hi, Shannon. How are you? Thank you for joining me tonight. So I sell my products in a boutique, and in that boutique we have classes. And one of our, hey Christy Lynn, one of our really talented artisans, Miss Jen Peck Johnson, I always say all three of her names. Jen is extremely creative, and she has taken on this new, well, it's probably not new, but I think it's new to the most of the crafting world, let's say, of acrylic ink and acrylic paints and resin pours. And so she had a class the other night, and I was so excited because I typically don't have time to take the classes, and last Friday night I was like, I am taking it. And so last night I showed you guys, this was my project, and last night I put this transfer on it, this chalk couture transfer on it. Now this one is on a 12 by 12 canvas. And I will tell you, there's a slight difference to how I'm going to do mine versus this, and it's very slight. But what we did was we put painter's tape all around the edge here because of it being a canvas. This, I'm using a flat panel canvas. So if it runs off the edges, I'm not worried about it seeping up underneath and getting, uber messy. So that is one thing that we did. Now with this, I still need to clean up the edges. You see how the resin, it does drip off, okay? Hi, Kay. Hi, Paulette. Hi, Kim. It does drip off. So you really want to make sure that your workspace, and if anybody has worked with resin before, you will know these things. So I have put some cardboard boxes. I mean, there's portions of boxes down here. Some people use paper, just anything to help protect whatever surface you have, okay? Some people even wear aprons and make sure that, oh, thanks, Paulette. Okay, guys, so I don't have a moderator tonight, so hey, Angela, hey, Kim. So I'm trying to do both, so sorry if I get like, hey, squirrel, ADD. Okay, so I do have cardboard down to help because the resin is extremely fluid, and I want to make sure, and that's part of the fun, I want to make sure that it can roll and move, but I don't want it to roll and move on my table because once it sets, you're going to have to get like a chisel to get that bad boy off. So be very cautious. The other thing I have is I've got gloves because, again, resin is it's just a very strong substance, and it is very sticky. And if you get it on your hands, all you have to do is take some alcohol or maybe even fingernail polish remover or something would work. That will help get it off, but it's very sticky, and if you can prevent that from getting on you, then that's what you want to do. I have these tongue depressors. You can get them at the dollar store. I've got these to help mix my resin, okay? I've got my flat panel canvas, and all I did was, because I didn't think of this ahead of time, is, and we did this in the other class, but because that's a true canvas and it's got a board, this worked better. But I've got thumbtacks pushing up because I want it to be elevated a little bit, because when it does start to run, I want it to have somewhere to go and not just seep off and keep seeping off. So I wanted some elevation. The only thing that I don't have, and I'm just going to roll with it, is you want to make sure that your canvas is pretty level, okay? I couldn't find my husband's level. So I'm just going to roll with it because this is just for fun and for demonstration purposes. So Just make sure that if you are really trying to do something for something serious or you want it absolutely perfect, make sure that it's level. Oh, okay. I completely understand, Angela. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Hi, Dee. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I've got my flat canvas. I've got my thumbtacks. The only other thing, whoops, that I forgot to grab is a lot of times people will pre-paint their canvases, okay, because you want a little bit of a surface for it to grab to. So I've got some gesso paint, which is some just preparation paint. You can use acrylic paints. With this one, this color here is just a blue acrylic paint. So you can truly use anything you want. And you know what? Maybe I do have some acrylics up there. Let me grab my paints so that we can prep the board. I have not gone anywhere. I'm still in the same room. Don't go away. I'm trying to see what I have for acrylic paints. Okay. Yeah, we're going to use an acrylic paint. Okay. I am just grabbing, ooh, a metallic champagne. And again, to be honest with you, this one that I did the other night totally turned out different than I had imagined, but I still loved it. Because, and that's why I gotta say, you gotta let go of your tendencies to be very exact and with this art, because it definitely is an abstract art, and it's not something that you can control. I mean, you have some control certainly, but it's not something that you're going to have a lot of control over. So I am literally just going to pour my acrylic paint on here. And is that too bright? You guys are, I'm sure you're having a, here, let me see if I can, maybe that, is that better? Oh, that's still a bright light, isn't it? Okay, let's see. Maybe when we start working with the, can you guys see the canvas okay? It's very bright on my screen, but I don't know if that's what you guys are experiencing. If you can't see anything, please let me know and I'll do my best to adjust my lighting and my camera. Okay. Oh, this is very pretty. I'll show this to you guys after I paint it. And there are so many different ways to do this. This is such a fun art because really, I mean, I don't want to say there's no wrong way to do it, but there's certainly different variations of it in which people do. And so, I mean, really, they all just end up being so pretty. In fact, the boutique I help in, they're doing what they call a puddle pour. They use straws and blow the resin. They do what they call dirty pour. They put all of their acrylic paints in one container and then dump it and flip it over, do like a flip cup. I mean, it's kind of neat to see what all the different techniques end up bringing out. Okay, one last squirt here. And I am kind of a beginner at this too, so there's no way that I am going to say I am a professional at this. But I enjoyed it so much. I just thought it was so beautiful. I wanted to continue to do it. So here I am. And I got a lot of questions about my project that I posted last night. And so I thought, you know what? No shame in my game. We'll just do this public and everybody can figure it out. So hello, not really. Okay, kind of hard to see. All right, let me fix my lighting so that you guys, because I want you guys to be able to see this. Let's see if I cut that light out. Or maybe, woo, we went completely dark. I'm still here, I promise. I'm still here. The lighting in this room is not the best, so I'm trying to, whoop, it's one of, it keeps rotating on me. Okay, is that better? Is that better? Can you guys see it a little bit better now? You guys can see at least that it's colored, I think. Let me know. Okay, so this is what the champagne looks like. It's just, it's really not that much different in color. It was a bright white canvas, and now it's a metallic champagne. So I'm going to take my blow dryer, and I'm going to blow dry it really quick. Oh, good. Yeah. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Okay. The other good thing about working with acrylic paints is they dry fairly quickly. All right, so I have a dry surface. So what I learned in my class the other night was on the 12 by 12 canvas, Jen said that about 5 ounces total of the resin will work. And when I say total is because resin comes in 2 parts. There is a resin and there is a hardener. Okay, sometimes they're called AB kits. The one that I got is called Art and Glow. Now I'm going to tell you guys, resin can be pretty expensive. But I bought this one, and I got all my stuff off of Amazon, most of it. The reason I chose this one was because it gave me 40 minutes to work. Some of them give you about 25 minutes. There's different times before it starts to cure. But this one has no VOCs and very low odor. So resin, if you've never worked with it before, if you buy the industrial grade or a lesser cost resin, it can be quite pungent. I mean, you're probably going to smell like you walked into a room that's just been painted times 10. So you certainly want to have a face mask if you have one that is not of a low odor. Okay. All right. So what I did was, I'm thinking because this is a 9 by 12 frame, that maybe 4 ounces will be enough because I don't have the extra, 4 inches or so. 11, 12, 3 inches. So anyways, so what I did was I took these little plastic cups and I took 2 ounces of water and I put them in there, and then I have a little line showing me where 2 ounces is. So that way I know, because you need to have equal parts. Equal part resin, equal part hardener, okay? And I have 2 cups because for me, once you mix them together, that is when the activation is going to start to happen, and that's when your 40 minutes starts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour them separately in here, and then I will pour them together into a separate cup. Okay, and part of that is twofold. One, if I want to do this project again, I can keep these cups and I can just put an R and an H on one, and that way I'm not wasting materials. I can reuse these over and over again, and all I'm going to do is throw away the cup that I mixed them in together. Because you want to start with a fresh amount. It really has to be equal parts. So if you have a cup that you've mixed them in and there's some residue that gets left over and you go to do it again, you could mess up the formula. So I know. Technicalities. Okay, so then I've also got a bunch of other little cups, because what I'm going to do, since I'm going to be doing multiple colors, I have a couple of different cups here. So once I get my resin mixed, I'm going to pour a little bit in each cup, and then I've got alcohol ink. Okay, now these, let me see if I can find the container. These were bought also on Amazon, and you can get them, I think, at Michael's and other stores, and there's a variety of them. I mean, I could use acrylic paints, the alcohol ink. It really is just anything. There's even pigment powders you can put in there. It really is just whatever you want to do. To get some, it sounds like the best. Okay. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you? Okay, so this is the brand. I'm going to hold this up. This is what I got. Okay, Lumiere acrylic paints, or I'm sorry, alcohol ink. Let's see here. Now these are very metallic-y colors, but if you type in alcohol ink, you're going to get these, and they do come in very small containers. Okay, they come, like, here's one. Okay, and you only need a few drops to make it work. So, okay. Hi, Angie, how are you? All right, guys, so let's get rolling. You guys excited? I think I'm going to try to do what I did on that canvas with these colors a little bit too. So, oh, my gloves. I'm not even listening to myself here. All right, so you want to make sure you got on your gloves, and you can get these at the dollar store. The dollar store carries nitrile gloves, powder gloves, whatever gloves you want. But like I said, it's because the resin is so sticky. It's almost like, you know, a glue of some sort. Okay. All right, team. We're going in, okay? All right. Okay, so this one is the hardener. And what I'm going to do, it's got a little, of course it does, a little safety thing here. Okay. You can throw that in the trash so it doesn't stick to anything. Okay, so I've got my line marked on my cup where I put 2 ounces of water in just so I could get an idea. And I'm going to pour this hardener in. And it is a clear liquid. So just, you know, when you start to get close to that line, I would just be cautious. I wish I could remember how much this stuff cost me. I'll try to post it all in the thread when I'm done because these are 8-ounce containers. So technically I should be able to get 4 projects out of them, okay? Depending upon the size of the project that I do. Like I said, I'm working with a 9x12 flat canvas. The project I had last night was a 12x12 regular, you know, canvas, and we used 5 ounces of resin. I think there were a couple students who used a little bit more. It just depends on how much you want. But the 5 will be fine. So in this case, because I'm working with a smaller panel, I'm doing 4 ounces total. So 2 and 2. So here's the resin, and it is a little thicker. And I'll also list the one that we used in the class the other day because this one I can smell a tiny little bit of odor. And the one that we had in class the other day, I wouldn't even known we were using it. Now this is not bothering me; it's not that strong, but I can smell it. And like we said, there's different brands out there, but I'll list the one that we used in class because, like I said, that was a very low grade. Okay, so I think what I want to do is I've got a pewter color. I want to use that. I've got a blue gold. I think I want to use pearlescent turquoise. I'm surprised that I didn't get one with white. So because I don't have white, I do have some acrylic paints with white, but that's okay. This is for demonstration purposes. So what I'm going to do is we'll start with this and we'll see. Let's make sure when we open these I don't have a whole lot of work to do once I open it because we want to be able to rock and roll. Okay. All right, so I've got 3 colors chosen here. You can choose as many colors as you want. I'm just choosing 3 because I want to keep it, you know, quick and simple and really for demonstration purposes. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my 3rd cup. Okay, and I am going to mix the resin and the hardener together. And depending on what brand you use, some of it might get a little milky, and you want to stir it until the milkiness goes away. So now I'm just using a paint stick or a tongue depressor to get as much of this out as I can because, like I said, you want equal parts. That doesn't have to be to the drip, but it needs to be fairly equal. Okay, so I probably should use a separate tongue depressor, like I said, if I wanted to reuse these cups, but I'm not going to, so I'm not too worried about it. And the back of this container says to mix these 2 together for about 3 minutes, okay? So you're just going to take the tongue depressor, and I'm going to show this to you guys. You can kind of, hopefully you'll be able to see. See how it's got kind of a, oh, I'm tilting it, a milkiness to it? Do you guys see that? Where you can't really see through it. It's got like a, it's just milky. You just want to keep mixing, okay? This is probably the most boring part because you want to do this for 3 to 5 minutes and make sure that you get that milkiness out, okay? But it ends up, I just love this stuff so much. I love the way it turns out. And like I said, you can use glitter, you can use pigments, you can use alcohol ink, you can use acrylic paints. Guess I should watch the time, huh? 48. Somebody be my timekeeper. You can pretty much mix anything you want in resin. In fact, we do have a resin class with our resin lady, and she does picture frames, like 8 by 10 picture frames. And they're empty, basically. I think they might have the backing, of course, the glass, but you get to bring in memorabilia, or she brings in a bunch of knickknacks and different things, and you place whatever you want in there. And you've probably seen them where there's like a bunch of sea glass and then a seashell or something. And then they mix resin and pour it on top and make this beautiful picture frame. So, I mean, the opportunities are endless. Our shop owner took a serving tray that she got from a thrift store and did this technique inside of the serving tray. She's done it on the top of a table. I mean, really, it's kind of crazy. All the different, I mean, just YouTube it and you'll see a bunch of different stuff. But I love how it just kind of seals it and pulls it in and gives it this beautiful finish. So I'm going to show this to you. Hopefully you guys can kind of see it. See where the milkiness is kind of going away? You can see a lot more through it now. And that is because they are activating together. I think we're about 2 minutes in, so we got maybe another minute. It's where it's activating and it's becoming the resin substance. Now, if you have some air bubbles in it, that's okay. I've got a heat gun here that I stole from the shop I help in. I'll take it back tomorrow morning. A heat gun or a blow dryer would probably work too. I just have used a heat gun, so that's what I wanted to use to get any air bubbles out at the end, because you don't want them in your project when you're done. But if it's in this part, it's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. So you just want to make sure that it's pretty clear and that the milkiness has gone away. Okay, so now that I have my colors, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the tops off really quick. Okay, so I can be ready. Maybe I'll do a little bit of pink in there somewhere. I don't know. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to pour a little bit of the resin in each one of these cups. Now, if I decide to do just these 3 colors, I'm going to try to equally distribute this resin amongst the 3 cups in which I'm going to put the alcohol ink. Okay, so, oops, I'll pull it over here so you guys can see it. Okay, so I'm just literally pouring the mixture, now that I've put the A and B together, into these cups. I think I am going to do 4 colors. It's a good thing I grabbed extra cups. 2, 3, and this I'm just eyeballing it. This part does not have to be perfect, but what you're just trying to do is evenly distribute that resin amongst all the colors, because you don't want to waste any resin. So you're trying to just to make sure you used it all. So I've got a little bit left, so I'm going to take that and just put it in the rest of the cups. Okay, so again, I've got, okay, yowzers. All right, so now I've got, let me see how I can put this so you guys can see it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 4 cups of resin, and I've got 4 colors, okay. So now what I want to do is I want to take my colors, and I'm going to put a tongue depressor in each one because I want to mix them, okay. So I'm going to put about 3 or 4 drops of this alcohol ink in each one. 2, 3, 4. And you can add more as you want, but see how that is changing? That's my pink. Okay. Just mix it up so it gets in there all nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. Now in the class, I will tell you, it depends upon the humidity in your house, because the instructor said it worked well in her house. So she put the alcohol ink first and then put in the resin. But when we did it in the class, it was very humid, and the alcohol ink actually dried on the bottom. And then we had to put more in there at the top. So I don't know how it would do here. So I'm just going to go with the fact that it would have dried here too, because it worked fine when we put it in after the fact. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay. All right. So now there's different techniques that I could use. And somebody in the class the other night did it this way. She took all these colors and put them into one container and then poured it on. Okay. Hey, Marie. Thanks. All right. So I've got some really pretty colors here, and I'm going to move them up because I can see how it will eventually run. So what we're going to do is literally, I don't have a plan for how I want the colors to go. For me, I just think this is a pretty combination. So what you want to do is you're going to take this and you're just going to pour it right on top of the board. And I'm going to leave a little bit in here, and I'm going to use that popsicle stick and just spread it. Okay, wherever I want it to go. And you can, you know, if I make these S things, the resin's going to eventually bleed into those empty gaps. Okay. But like I did with that one, if I want a concentricity of one color in one corner, then I can do that. So for instance, if I wanted this teal blue, I can do that over here and do like a big blob. And then I could say, whoop, I want this to be pulled out, right? And I'm just going to pull it into different color, into different areas. Okay. Now the acrylics, or the alcohol, I keep wanting to call them acrylics. The alcohol ink I bought are all very metallic-y colors. So they're not very, they look bright and bold in my cups, but they are not on my resin piece. So I would recommend that if you buy alcohol inks, don't get all metallics. I think it'll still end up very pretty, but certainly not as bold as the one that I did in the class, because those were not metallic. Let's go with some waves here. They were just straight colors. And I want this to be concentrated a little bit more. And you can see it's not really running off the edge too much. It's thick enough where it stays pretty still, but overnight as it cures, it's gonna shift and move. And so that's why you want something underneath it, because you're gonna lose some of this resin overnight when it starts to cure itself out. And you know what I might end up doing is taking some glitter and adding it to it. That's going to be fun, little highlights of glitter or something. Or maybe I'll just take some alcohol ink in general and just splurt it on there. That would be fun. All right, now I'm going to add this little bit of pink and see what that does to it. Let's see if we do like a big circle here. All right, any questions so far? Is this stuff that you guys have all seen and done? And it's fairly simple. I mean, it's almost like finger painting, to be honest with you, just not with your fingers, because then you would have a big goopy mess. You're doing it with a tongue depressor. Or you can do it with a paintbrush. I mean, you can literally, you know, the options are endless, like I said. And me, I'm just having fun. I'm just, you know, pouring stuff in different areas. I think I want more pink, actually, which is surprising because I wasn't even going to use the pink to start with. And you can layer resin too. So let's say that I wanted to add something like a leaf or a newspaper clipping or something. After this cures, I could come back the next day, put something in it, and then do another layer of resin, just a clear layer or a colored layer, whatever I want. You can totally layer it and do whatever you want. Oh, I like how that's turning into like a purple. Again, not at all that I imagined in my mind, but I think too because these alcohol inks are very metallic-y. So it's a very muted version of what the true color would be. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. So I think I probably could have done 3 ounces of resin. I don't think I needed all 4. And that's just something, you could probably Google it. There's probably, I would imagine there's guides that you can look online. Like I said, I am not a professional by any means. I mean, you know, I took a class. I fell in love with it. So I am going to add that glitter though. That is going to be fun. Okay, and then we want a high, use the rest of this. Okay, that's all done. And I'm going to use the gray and go right beside it. I mean, the instructor said she did one the other day that was all stripes. And she just, because like we said, it's very fluid, but it does tend to, when you're working with it, stay in a certain area, but it is going to move. When I show a picture tomorrow after it's cured, I think you guys are going to be surprised at what it turns out looking like compared to what it is tonight. Okay. In fact, mine, I was so shocked. It moved quite a bit because that night when we had worked with it, it certainly, it looks somewhat like that, but not completely. I mean, it did move quite a bit, which, you know, that was kind of the fun part to me is, you know, I did my portion of the art and then it did it, the rest of it overnight. Okay. I'm just cleaning as I go here a little bit. All right, and we're going to do one last little thing of pink. Let's see if we can do almost like a flower or a circle in the middle here, and it can work its way out. Okay. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of glitter. Now that we did not do in the class, so this will be a science experiment, and we'll get to see what it looks like. So it takes like 24 hours to cure. Yes. So you want it to cure overnight. It takes at least 24 hours to cure. And the other thing you want to make sure that when you're working, so I can see some bubbles starting to form. And like I said, I'm going to put the heat gun on it in a second. And you've got, remember, I've got 40 minutes. You can see all the, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's resin starting to fall off the edge here because it's moving. So it takes 24 hours to cure. And remember, I've got 40 minutes from the moment that I combined the two together to work with it. It will start to cure and you will see it will get harder to work with. So the other thing that I just noticed when I was moving is there was something in it. So if you think you see a hair or something else in the resin, you want to make sure you get that out, okay? Or else it's gonna, that's why I say it's got to be level. It is a little finicky. Resin is a little finicky. Okay, so I've got some gold glitter here, very, very fine glitter. This may either make it or destroy it. We'll see. And I am going to just sprinkle. I don't know what this will do to the, you know, I said if you have a hair in it or we will find out. I don't want to overdo it. I just very lightly, but I kind of like on the one that I did, I had some pigment colors that I just threw on there. And when you hold it into the light into different angles, you can see those gold flexes, which is kind of fun. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put caps on all these. And I think too, you want to make sure that you're in a, room temperature type of room. I'm sure it'll say on the back of the different types of resins, because like I said the other day when I was in the classroom, it was fairly humid, very hot and humid, and that ink and different things, it was behaving a little bit differently than it was at the instructor's house when she was doing it. And she said that she normally keeps her house at like 68, 70 degrees. So just, it's a little temperamental, but again, what we're doing with it is very abstract. So it makes it kind of fun. All right, so I've got this heat gun. See, this is where I get myself in trouble because I keep piddling, and I just want this to go to the edge because I don't have anything on the edge. And I end up getting resin on my fingers, and then I'm rubbing them down with alcohol forever. See, I can see it's getting kind of thick, and it's not moving as well as it was earlier. And the reason I chose the flat panel for this one versus the canvas is I want to be able to frame it. And yes, you can frame the canvas prints, but they're a little bit harder because they've got an elevation to them. Now, what the instructor did, she did a reverse canvas. When she did the acrylic pour, she did it a reverse canvas, and it worked really well. Okay, now I gotta find that. All right, so I'm gonna hit this with a heat gun to try to get any air bubbles out that I see, okay? Okay. I'm kind of leaning down so I can see if there are any air bubbles. I think we're okay. Okay. Excuse me. Ooh, sucked in a little bit too much air. All right, I think we're okay. What I am gonna do, and you want to make sure it's level at night as you let it sit and cure. I'm just gonna move this over a little bit so that, because I've got, look at all this resin over here. Well, you guys can't see it, but it's a huge blob of resin that fell off the canvas and onto the board here. I'm going to scooch this back because I don't want it getting on my table. And I'm going to put this other board slightly underneath it, which is probably going to throw off my leveling, but my table's more important than this project right now. Okay. Okay, everybody, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit overnight, just like it is, and I'll try to pull my camera down here so you guys can see it a little bit closer. Hold on. Let me see if I can yank this camera off of the stand. All right, you guys, you might get a little dizzy here. Hold on. Let's see if I can. All right, you know what I can do here? Because it's not completely. All right, let's see if you guys can see. Oh, no, it's. Can you guys see that at all? I'm dripping everywhere. It's got a very pretty pink hue to it. Let's see. Oh, you know what I can. Let's see here, people. We are just going off the cuff. All right, looks like my camera is pretty set here. Oh, lefty loosey, righty tighty, people. All right. Sorry. That's about as close as you guys are going to get for right now. But what I'll do is I'll take a snapshot of it. I'll put it on the feed so that you guys can see it. And I'll also take pictures of the products, and I'll actually list them in the feed and put links to where I got everything. And then tomorrow morning when I come down, it should be pretty cured. It does take about 24 hours, so it might be still a little sticky tomorrow morning. So by tomorrow night, it will certainly be ready. And I will do the next phase, which is putting a Chalk Couture transfer on the resin art itself, just similar to what I did with this one. So if you didn't see the beginning of my live, this is what I did last night. So this was the resin art that I made in class last Friday, and you can get really close and see. I mean, it's just, to me, see these little gold flecks? See if you guys can see them up here, little gold flex tones. So for me, this looked like the earth out in space, and so that's why I chose this saying to put on it. So I want to do something similar here. I'm not too sure what I'm going to end up choosing, but it'll be fun and it'll work out great. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, I'll do my best to answer them. Like I said, I'm not an expert by any means. I've just taken a class and watched it several times and fell in love with this technique. So if you have any questions, shoot them my way and I'll try to get the answers for you. And if you have any questions about Chalk Couture, ask me as well. I would love for you to join my team, and we have a lot of fun and you know, do a little crafting. All right, everybody. It's great seeing you. This is Mia with Chalk with Mia, and I will see you again. Bye. Oh, hold on. I see there's some comments. Sorry. Thank you, Kay. Thanks, Angie. Oh, you're welcome, Paulette. Oh, you're so welcome, Angie. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for all the nice comments. I will certainly try to take pictures along the way so that you guys can see it. All right. Have a good night.